What's going on, everybody? It's Jay Wilson, and you're about to see a new vivarium. I've done some pictures, so do me a favor. Check out Instagram, check the community tab, subscribe, double tap, share. All of those things help. More importantly, use the code JAYW and get 15% off at Josh's Frogs. Oh yeah, and use JWilson15 and get 15% off at Northfin USA. But this vivarium, something different. I was trying to create a story, a theme. It was this abandoned area in the woods, and I hope to pick the right frogs that will enjoy this awesome open space up front. And you know what? Let's just go take a peek at what it looks like. So how did we get there? Well, it's pretty simple. A lot of product from Josh's Frogs, a background from UNIVERSALROCKS, and, well, some creativity. I wanted to create something that felt like it was abandoned in the woods, right? I wanted it to be this open, vast area in the front, a lot of growth through the back and the sides, and then just this tree that was, it wasn't dead, but it looked like it had fallen down through some rocks. So you see some rocks up at the top right. I've got some brightly colored plants. I added some wood around for some accent pieces and just a lot of mood moss on the bottom. There's a lot of crawlers. And right now I'm adding spag moss, kept it really wet. And what this does for me is ultimately when I put it around the background, it gives it that extra humidity. I can spray it to keep it soaked, and ultimately it just provides that really rich, humid environment for the dart frogs. The mood moss gives it that really soft look. I've got, like I said, a bunch of different plants, too many to even just talk about, but there's a ton of packages that you can purchase off of Josh's Frogs. And you can see I already have fruit flies. Yeah, they just decided to show up. I've got some extra pieces of wood you can kind of see sitting right in front of the tree that's overhanging, that's bare right now. And then I have some, I don't know what kind of wood it is to the left, but you can see it's kind of got some branches, etc. I've got a platform rock up front, and then I've got a couple pieces of Sarayu stone that I siliconed that tree piece. I'm literally just flicking spag moss off my hands. So ideally, I wanted something that was a completely different ballgame, right? So that's mainly this tree, different colored plants. It's scaped completely different because I don't want it to look the same. And as you can see right now, I am placing spag moss on top of the tree. Why? Because I'm going to put Java moss over it. I spoke to Tanner at Serpa Design and I just said, will the Java moss live? And he said, if you can keep it wet, it will live. So I didn't add my Mist King to this because I'm working on another secret project. But ultimately, I figured if I can keep the spag moss nice and wet and the Java moss wet, that the Java moss would stay green. And I can just add more over time. And so I am literally just draping spag moss over and over this dead tree, so to speak, that I want to come alive in a different way. So I spoke to people over time, whether it's doing aquariums or it's doing vivariums, and you have to tell a story. It has to tell a story to someone. And for me, this tells a beautiful story. There is a vast open area that leads to this very lush and dense forest, right? With a mountain in the back, with a rock wall. And I feel like I'm capturing that, and I wish I can show you in person because it is far, far more attractive in person than I believe the camera does for you. And it kind of sucks. But with the pops of colors, the greens, the tans, the wood, the background is actually foam. It's the cheapest possible background you can get from Universal Rocks. And I've just, I didn't even silicone it. I did silicone it. I put a little bit of cheapo silicone behind that wouldn't be a mold inhibitor, and then I hit it with some foam, shaved it, hit some more silicone, and then bam, put the spag moss. So let's kind of watch a little bit as I continue to add some stuff to the tree, and I'll get back here in a moment and talk a little bit about, what I feel and what I would have done differently, because now that everything's in place, I really can't do anything different. But what would I do different? I have no idea. I really don't. I think the Java moss came out good. I think it ties everything in. It really, really, really looks amazing in person, and I wish you could have seen it. But setting up a vivarium is very fun, and honestly, it is extremely easy. You just have to remember a few steps, right? You're putting in your drainage layer, you're putting in your barrier, then you're gonna put in your ABG mix, and then on top of the ABG mix, I put spag moss and then crinkle a bunch of leaf litter. And you're planting your plants, and then I let this thing sit for about 4 weeks. And it's not necessarily that it's cycling, but it's giving the vivarium time to get the root structure going. It's digging itself in, providing its home. Anything that slowly looks like it's gonna die comes back to life. I didn't notice much of that here. I'm adding this spag moss and the Java moss up top and on the tree very late in the game. Matter of fact, 3 weeks this thing has been up. If you'd like to see more pictures, you can check it out on Instagram, but I greatly appreciate your support and everything you do. And let me know in the comments, what frog would you put in here? Has to be a dart frog, could be any style of dart frog, preferably not an arboreal style species that likes to climb, so I like to stay away from the thumbnails, but let me know what you think right in the comments, and stay till the end and you may see a little motivation. But right now, let's do a little squeaky squeaky squirt 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 to make this bad boy super lush. Well, I hope you enjoyed that vivarium, because I know I did. But more importantly, I hope you enjoy what you're doing. We're not always gonna have the best days. We're not always gonna have the greatest years. But if you're still here and you're still watching, you have a ton to be thankful for. You got a roof over your head, and if you don't, you at least had money for a smartphone, or a computer, or internet. Or maybe you had the ability to walk to an internet cafe or a coffee shop. Somehow, you had an ability to do what you are doing right now. And there are a lot of people in this world that don't have that ability. So while all of the muck that happens makes it seem like everything is bad, there is far greater good that is happening. So do me a favor. Smile. Right now. Take a moment and smile. This can change a moment. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And thank you for coming along throughout all these years. And if you're new, welcome. I appreciate you. No matter what you do. You hit the dislike button, I appreciate you. You hit the like button, I appreciate you. No more, no less. Because honestly, without all of the pieces of what happens in life, we aren't who we are. So, If you want to follow along, there's a ton of other videos that you can catch up on, or wait for the next one. Typically, they're out on Sundays, and soon I'll be bringing back lives. Thank you again for watching, and you know what's next. Ah!